Welcome to our video scribe. I'm Elle, and I'm going to be talking you through one of our collecting diversity data tools. This scribe focuses on getting ready. Also in the toolbox are scribes on what is diversity data, why collect it, and how to do it. So what do you need to do before you collect diversity data? Well, there's quite a lot to think about, so this will be a bit longer than our usual scribes. Let's start with data protection. Diversity data, and particularly protected characteristic data, is personal sensitive data and therefore needs to be collected in line with GDPR. That means you need to give people the option prefer not to say. You can't force anyone to give you their data. You need to gain explicit consent to collect the data and tell people exactly what you'll use it for. You'll need to know what you're going to use it for. If you're not sure, then don't collect it yet. Store the data securely. You need to store it in line with GDPR, so it isn't accessed or leaked. Tell people who will see their data. If you're collecting the data to measure your diversity and inclusion, then there's no basis for anyone in your organisation being able to identify people's diversity data. That means storing and analysing in a way that protects people's identities while still being able to remove the data on request. By the way, we're not GDPR specialists, so you may want to check with your data protection officer or specialist to make sure you're getting everything right. Now let's talk about systems. The system you use to collect the data will need to be GDPR compliant. If you have a people system or client management system, it's ideal if you can use it to collect your data. That way, people feel comfortable that no one will see their data, and you can easily analyse it against other data, such as performance ratings. If not, we recommend using GDPR compliant online survey platforms. But in some cases, for example, if your service users prefer it, you may need to use a paper form. If so, you definitely need to check your process with your data protection officer or specialist. Okay, now we're on to stakeholders. Which teams do you need to work with to make sure that you're asking the right people the right questions in the right way? Here are some ideas. Your security, information governance, or data protection officer. Your IT people. They may know of the right system for you. HR operations, and especially the people data team. They'll help you embed collecting the data in the employee journey. Service user involvement. They'll help you test the questions with service users. Health and safety. Some of the data you collect may help them make your charity a more accessible and safer place to be. Communications. They'll help you ask at the right time and in the right way. You may not have all these people in your charity. If not, that's okay. But if there are people who are not in these roles but are knowledgeable in these areas, get them involved. What about what to ask and why? If you're simply collecting the data to measure your diversity and inclusion, then a good place to start is with the 9 protected characteristics. However, we know that there's more to diversity, and there may be data that is important to your charity's cause. For example, do you want to be particularly representative of people with a certain disability? Or is it really important to you that you reach people from different socioeconomic backgrounds? Remember though, don't ask for any data that you're not going to use straight away, and explain to people why you're collecting it. So, who should you ask? If you're just beginning your diversity data journey, then we recommend you start with employees and volunteers. The reason we say start with employees and volunteers is that if they understand why you're collecting the data, then they can help you ensure that service users, trustees, and everyone else understands and feels comfortable sharing. Your next priority should be service users, trustees, candidates, and applicants. But to truly measure how inclusive you are inside and out, it's helpful to also collect data from donors, service providers, and, well, anyone else who gets involved with your charity, for example, those who visit your website. Now let's cover building trust. Building trust is really important. If people don't trust what you'll do with their data, they won't feel comfortable sharing it. That means you need to be at the right place in your diversity and inclusion journey, so people know you really care. You'll need a comprehensive communication plan to build up to asking for people's data. You can use our communication templates to help. You'll also need the right culture. For example, a commanding culture may lead to a reluctance to provide data. You can use our C8 culture framework to understand what culture you currently have. So we don't recommend just asking out of nowhere, but building trust first. Okay, it's the bit we all love, policies and documents. You'll need some basics in place before you ask people for their diversity data, including an up-to-date privacy policy that includes personal sensitive data, a diversity data FAQ document, you can use our FAQ template, a diversity and inclusion policy that refers to diversity data, that's included in our policy template too. Lastly, I promise, to get ready to ask for diversity data, you need to think about timing, especially things that you can hook your diversity data train onto, and therefore increase the data you collect. For example, other data drives you may have in which diversity data can be included, for example, emergency contacts. Your communications calendar. Are there other things on the agenda that will help you ask for data, such as volunteer engagement surveys? External factors that it could increase the understanding of why diversity data is important. For example, Black Lives Matter or diversity-related service user research. That's it. I know it seems like a lot, but getting all of these elements in place will really help you collect meaningful diversity data so you can understand how inclusive you are inside and out. Head back to Charity Culture Catalyst to think about the next step in your diversity data journey.